Hey everyone, exciting news. We've officially launched the Paranoid Perspective Patreon. If you love what we do, unpacking conspiracies, chasing mysteries, and laughing through the weirdness, now you can support the show and get more of it.
So for as little as $5 a month, you will get exclusive access and extra perks to the episode. Sarah, what do we get with Tier 1?
So Tier 1 is the Curious Minds, and you get a shout out at the end of every episode.
Next tier, this is what you guys really probably want. Ad-free episodes. We don't need those pesky ads that you guys are getting on Spotify, Apple, whatever else. You will get all episodes ad-free along with what else, Sarah?
You'll also get it ahead of time. So before the episode releases for that week, it'll be available for you to watch or listen.
So if you guys are interested, check in the show notes down below, or you can head to patreon.com/the Paranoid Perspective Podcast. Welcome back to the Paranoid Perspective. I'm Jake.
And I'm Sarah.
So, well, this is kind of going to be a woo episode, probably.
Yeah, science, with some science.
There is some, depending on who you ask, I suppose.
Research, there's research.
There is research, and, that's what all the flat earthers like to say, but I'm not comparing it to that. But no, in all seriousness, like I've had moments of like weird knowing things I shouldn't be knowing, and weird deja vu, like stuff like that. But I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I kind of know a little bit about this, but I don't know a lot, so I'm ready to get learned. So what are we getting into today, Sarah?
We're going to talk about reincarnation, specifically people with past lives, children that have said. Because it's always in children.
Well, they're closer to the veil.
Right. Yeah, and they're closer to their past life, I guess, to remember.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And as you age, you forget those memories and you make your own memories and stuff. So
now, speaking
of
children,
forgot.
It's like the Fairy Godparents cartoon. You just age out and you forget you have those fairy godparents. You know what I mean? There you go, kids. That's your nostalgia cartoon from the 2000s.
But like, I didn't see the end of that, but it said like he wished to be forever a child. Like for 50 years, he was a child. Like that's how it kind of ended, was like he's still a child. And he had wished a long time ago for everyone to forget and for him to stay the same age. So they were just living in that kind of like loop for like 50 years.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Okay, so as far as reincarnation, that's like not new at all, like the belief of reincarnation.
Right.
Buddhism and Hinduism, that's like a key pillar for them. So a lot of times past lives is kind of more accepted to talk about, like in Asian cultures with that. But I guess reincarnation beliefs in Europe date back to ancient Greece and like pre-Christian Mediterranean.
Okay.
So that was pretty accepted back then too. Obviously now, not so much, not as much. Sure. But people still talk about it, whether it's like culturally accepted or not. Like people still claim past lives or like children and I guess their families because they have to talk for them.
Right.
If they're like so young. But yeah, so most children forget by 6 or 7, like the past lives stuff. So.
Well, it kind of makes sense because at that point, like, what do they say? Like, you learn the most in your first 5 years or something like that. So it's like you're just a sponge soaking up everything and you're a product of your environment. So, I mean, that makes sense.
So the University of Virginia's School of Medicine, the Division of Perceptual Studies.
That sounds like a made up thing, but okay.
They study children who have reported past life memories. So there's a specific professor, Dr. Jim Tucker, there, and he's been studying this for 20 years.
Holy shit.
He's like the expert.
It's his life.
Yeah. I guess he was a child psychiatrist first, and then he heard about the research being conducted by Ian Stevenson, who was the founder of this division of perceptual studies. So then he kind of took it over from that guy when he retired. So he's been doing it for a long time. But the team there has gathered more than 2,500 cases in the U.S.
Okay.
for past lives. They said children typically start talking about their past life like between 2 or 3, kind of when you start
Sure.
talking.
I was going to say when you start.
Right. And then, they stop around 6 or 7. So I guess if they hear about a child having past lives, then a team will go and investigate that child, like talk to the child.
Got like a quick reaction force of like, fuck, we got to get to Miami, guys. We got another kid.
Yeah, right. Their team, I looked it up online. There's like 20 people in this, in the division of perceptual studies. I don't know if they all investigate past lives, but.
Man, okay.
I'm
We got like a fucking
that.
task force, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess when they first investigate, they try to answer if the parents seem credible first. And they also try to narrow down if the child could have heard about these like memories from like TV or something.
Sure.
So they try to narrow all that down. Obviously, if they think there's fraud, they don't continue to investigate. And if they do think it could be credible, then they do interview the kid and the family. And then they try to find a past life, like a deceased person's life that matches what the kid says.
Yeah.
Through research and stuff. So that's why they have like 2,500 cases. Apparently 3/4 of the cases they say are solved because they say they've found the past person who matches.
That's a pretty good track record if that's actually true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how true that is. Or like what pieces, how much did they have to match, like.
I mean, but 75% is a pretty high percentage of solved cases. I mean,
right. And they also say 20% of the cases, the kid has naturally occurring marks or impairments that match scars or injuries of the past person.
See, that's the thing that kind of like is the most credible. And I mean, maybe it's just because we're looking for it,
Yeah, maybe.
But at the same time, it's like, so and so got, shot in the abdomen, and this child has like the exact, like a birthmark that looks like a gunshot scar.
Right.
On the fucking, like right where they, like, that's what's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, there was one that I read where the kid had like a bullet, like a birthmark where a bullet would have gone through and through the neck as if it like went through. Yeah, that seems wild to me. But we're going to go through 3 cases. We'll see if we get through all 3. But I found 3 cases that I thought were the more compelling, I guess. Not the most, maybe, but the first one, his name is Cade. I don't know the rest of his name, but he was on Ghost Inside My Child, the TV show.
That's a solid program. I've never seen it, but damn it, I want to watch it.
Yeah. So he was born in 2004. So he would be around 21 now, but he's not active in talking about this anymore.
Well,
but a lot of them aren't.
Well, see, and that's what makes it so much more credible, in my opinion. Like, if it was just like a cash grab, like, oh, look at me, I've did this. Here's my book. Well, here's this podcast that I do, or here's this TV show that I do. Pay me money so I can talk about this. Now, I'm not gonna not believe you, but kind of see what your intentions are here.
It doesn't seem as authentic.
Right.
So I guess he was an early crawler, talker, and walker, which is kind of similar for a lot of these kids too. I guess he started standing when he was like 2.5 months old.
Shit.
Yeah. And they said when he was like 1.5 to 2 years old, he was like using like intelligent words and like holding conversations with adults. I mean, that's what his family said. So, you don't really know. But around 3 years old, he started talking about remembering dying. So he would cry in the middle of the night. He would wake up screaming about working in a tall building. He said he could see the Statue of Liberty from his office, and he dreamt he fell from a building when he died.
So
He was in 9/11, yeah. Well, he was born in 2004, so I guess.
Well, I guess, yeah.
So, I mean, the mom said she was skeptical at first, saying like...
As one would be.
Right. And his dad said they didn't show him anything about 9/11. Like, they didn't play anything or talk about New York. And, like, he wasn't in school yet. So it was like, how do you, like, where would you have gotten this from? I mean, kids get stuff from a lot of places, but.
True. And to play devil's advocate just for a minute, if this is 2004, I mean, like, we're like rah rah for, Iraq and Afghanistan, like super hardcore, especially going into Iraq. Um,
Yeah.
and every year on the anniversary, like it was still pretty, all over the place. So
Yeah. I mean, it still
could,
is kind of.
well, for sure, but it was definitely like
Definitely, yep.
way more prevalent, in
Right.
the early 2000s. Because I remember, I remember sitting in middle school, and they'd have these little like, or not middle school, high school. They'd have these little like morning news things that they'd make us watch, and there was always a segment on what was going on in Iraq and Afghanistan and
Yeah.
why. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that he would have seen that, but I'm just saying that was a prime time for that to be on some sort of media in his house, too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So even if they didn't really think they talked about it, I mean, he could have still been exposed.
Right.
But she kind of brushed it off as like, oh, he has an imagination and kind of odd, whatever. I guess he was also afraid of planes, but then later he became obsessed with planes, like looking at them and stuff. But he at first was afraid of more where the planes were going, is what his like grandma said. I feel like she's just adding in.
Yeah, I was gonna
This
say.
seems, yeah. But the dad said like driving downtown was always hard on him because like he wouldn't want to get out of the car and he was like frantic anytime he saw a tall building and he'd be like, I'm not going in there, like the tall buildings. So at 7, he started saying he was in a building that was hit by something that exploded and then he fell. And he said he was alive when he fell, but then all the rubble hit him and he died. So,
Fuck.
and yeah, so he had been talking about this for 4 years, I guess. So at this point, his parents were kind of like, this has to be, or we have to investigate this at least. They were like, we can't keep brushing it off or something.
Yeah, this kid's saying some wild shit and we need to figure it out.
Yeah. And also, Cade asked to change his name at that point. He said Cade was not his name and he didn't like the name. He was like, that's not my name. The parents have kept the name a secret, I guess. They don't want to release it on TV and stuff because the victim, who they think, because they do think they found who he was, I guess, from what he said. So they want to respect any of their family that's still alive, yeah. But she did post to a forum about it, and like another person gave them a link to a man, and that's who they think it was. And he was a like a broadcaster, like a television. What was it? Now I lost my notes. I lost my place. Okay, he was a broadcast engineer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like a news anchor or anything. He was just the guy behind the scenes.
Yeah, and like fixing the cables and stuff. Yeah. So I guess the family did find like this past life guy's like friend and like took Cade to New York City to meet that friend and like talk about what he remembered. And I guess the friend said, yeah, you do seem like you're that guy that I knew, like
what the fuck?
Because of what he said, apparently. They won't televise much of that. The only thing that was confirmed in the video I saw was that Cade said his job was fixing, he said, a satellite or television or cable type work. And the friend was like, yep. But I'm like, those are kind of...
Yeah, that's general as fuck, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, apparently they talked much longer.
Well, okay, yeah.
So I don't know, but that friend, I guess, at the end of it was like, yeah, you seem like the guy I knew that died 9/11 in the World Trade Center. So I don't know. There's some people on Reddit that think they found the name because they don't want to leave it alone, I guess, of course.
Well, it's the internet. We're going to try to find out everything we can, so.
Well, and there's been YouTube videos and stuff about it,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you want me to tell you who it was, but...
We'll do it offline. We'll keep the trend rolling. Listeners, do your research. Just look into it, bro.
Yeah, because, like, for what they said Cade said about it, it seemed kind of like 50-50, like if it matched or not.
Yeah.
So,
well, once again, like I know we're kind of like there has to be an aspect of this where people are kind of grasping a bit.
Yeah.
They're reaching because you're talking to either a toddler or someone just coming out of being a toddler.
Right.
You know, what they're saying is going to be probably very general and vague. Like, I bet there are some instances, there have to be some where it's like super specific, but I can't imagine that's normal. It's probably mostly general and vague. And then we
Right.
got to kind of try to piece it together. And then piecing it together, us being human beings, we're going to find what we want to put in there anyway. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Once you kind of have a name too, then you might try to fit it in with that anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the first one. Not as compelling as the next two. It gets more as we go on.
We're in the 75 percentile with these next two.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one is James Leininger, which I feel like is one of the most famous cases.
I've
If you know
never heard
anything
of
about
it.
reincarnation, okay, you would know this name if you know anything about past life stories. But
Shows me how much I know. Not
okay.
shit.
Yeah. So in 2002, Dr. Tucker, he's the common person for all of this because he is the expert.
Well, and I mean, in all honesty, like I can't imagine a lot of people are into this. It's got to be kind
Yeah.
of unfortunately, however you want to look at it, it has to be treated as like pseudoscience for most like I don't want to say
Right.
actual, but other people that
It's
you
probably
know,
looked down upon in academia and
right.
yeah,
So it's not surprising that he's the only person that's
right, investigating these
right.
things. Yeah, so he was contacted to work for and appear on a show about reincarnation that actually never ended up airing. But this is how he met James Leininger through that show. And when he first met him, he was 4 years old from Louisiana. So he started having memories when he was around 2. He would wake up from nightmares constantly and he would be yelling, "Airplane crash, plane on fire, little man can't get out." Then he would just yell that like over and over
As a toddler,
at 2.
fuck that.
Yeah. He would also yell it when he was like playing with his toy planes and like crash the plane on like the cabinet or whatever, like wherever. But he would yell the same thing, like airplane crash, plane on fire, little man can't get out. So it was like, that's okay. Like, yeah, 2-year-old say this is
Why don't we calm down, bud?
Yeah, no more sugar for you.
Right.
Yeah, so he would also talk. He would say his plane was crashing too. He would say it was his plane crashing. And like he had these nightmares probably a few times a week for a while.
Jesus.
Yeah. So his mom ended up contacting a past life therapist, Carol Bowman, for help. So
Okay.
they already got involved in like past life things at that point. But Bowman told the mom not to dismiss what James was saying and to assure him that whatever happened had happened in a past life in a different body and he was safe now, to try and like get him over being dead, I guess, like dying.
You're not who you used to be. Get over it.
Yeah, you're a new body. It's okay. This happened and you're alive again and it's fine or something. How do you explain that to a 2-year-old? I don't know.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
If somebody told me that now, you're not going to explain it to me. So, no, I couldn't imagine telling that to a child.
Right. But I guess she did follow that advice, and eventually his nightmares did diminish a little bit over time. But then he also knew details about World War II aircraft that would seem impossible for a toddler to know, is what they say. For example, his mom once referred to an object on the bottom of a toy plane as a bomb, and he said, "No, it's a drop tank." And it was correct. He was correct. So.
And mom, the nomenclature for that is, whatever.
Right. Yeah. And like another time, he and his parents were watching a History Channel documentary, and the narrator called a Japanese plane a Zero, and he said, "No, it's a Tony." And he was right. So That's interesting, I think. But so his dad started to track what he was saying actually on like this giant like piece of, like those big like sticky note pages for like conference rooms and stuff. That's just like the sheets of paper like on the easel or whatever.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, like he started tracking on that sheet of paper, like adding more sheets of paper of like everything he was saying, I guess.
Who the fuck just has one of those, though?
I don't know. Well, you could buy it.
Well, sure, but okay.
Well, this was also like 2005 or 4. I don't know.
Okay.
That's when you have all these things.
I don't think so.
It's paper products. Okay. And he apparently described how to make napalm bombs when he was 6. So.
Well, did they have the anarchist cookbook anywhere around the house?
I don't think so. And would he even be able to read it? I mean, understand it as 6? I don't know. Maybe. But he would also draw a lot of battles between planes and ships. Like, that's all he would draw is like these planes and like, lines for the bullets. And I guess at one point his mom was like, can't you draw something like a flower? Like something a little nicer?
No, Mom, I'm remembering the carnage of war.
Well, he like drew one of his pictures with like the battle and then like flowers on the corner or something.
Of course,
like,
just to appease the mother.
Flowers. Yeah. And he always signed all of his drawings as James 3. And when his mom would ask, why is it James 3? And he would say, because he's the 3rd James.
Solid logic.
Yeah. You want to see one of the pictures?
Let's see him. Can't wait for this artistic map.
Here we go. Okay. This was one of the drawings. So, do you see it? Okay. Yeah. That's it. The plane going, I think that's a ship, or that's another plane. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Those planes are dead. That's for sure.
Yeah. Whoever's in that plane is wrecking shop.
Yeah, so that was like all of his drawings as a child was just that. So his dad had a book about the Battle of Iwo Jima, and like he was sitting with James like flipping through the pages and stuff. And James saw a picture of like the island like from aerial view, and he said that's where he was killed. So he said he was on a ship called the Natoma that carried planes, and he died there.
Okay.
So, and I guess his dad said the Natoma sounded Japanese, and he got really mad, I guess, and said, no, it's American. So his past life prejudices are coming out.
Hey, you can't blame those old guys. It was a different time, and they were fighting an enemy, okay?
That's true. It was their enemy. But yeah, I guess James got really mad that he sounded Japanese.
He just started throwing out racist slurs at 6 years old to his dad, and yeah.
Right. It's like, whoa, we believe you now.
Yeah.
So his dad was researching online, and he found that there was a USS Natoma Bay that was at the Battle of Iwo Jima. So he ended up joining a Natoma Bay group, and he found out only one pilot had died in the Battle of Iwo Jima from that ship. And his name was James Huston Jr. So this James would be the 3rd James then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's who they think was his past life, is this pilot. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, once again, I like that there's consistency in the story, and that even from a young age, he was saying things that didn't quite make sense. The thing that kind of gets me is like, boys aren't supposed to be into World War II until they're like in their like 30s. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So the fact that
they're like a dad.
Right. That's a total dad thing, right? What's the typical trope? World War II and Roman history. There you go. That's what you're supposed to be into. But no, if like the weird thing is like correcting the aircraft and then like correcting like the actual part that his mother was talking about, like that stuff, like the screaming and then like crashing planes and drawing planes, like that could just be a boy being a boy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But how would you know specific parts of specific planes? And then not only you would know, because I don't know anything other than what they referred to those Japanese aircraft other than Zeros. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Right.
think
How would
that's
he know
common
it's Tony?
knowledge.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like it's
So,
not like his parents would have known and told him that.
well, even if they were watching World War II documentaries, like the ones that I've watched, and I remember Dad used to watch them all the time, and that's what they said about those aircraft. They were zeros. They didn't call them
Yeah.
anything else.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because it said that he corrected it from a History Channel documentary.
right.
So it's
So,
like, so where did he get that from then? Yeah. So he, as an adult, was in a surviving death episode. They have episodes on different death topics, and one of them's reincarnation. So he was in that episode as an adult. So he kind of talked a little bit there. I mean, he doesn't remember much now.
sure.
But in the episode, I guess it showed that him and his family actually went to Japan when he was a kid to try and give him closure. Like they were able to like boat out to Iwo Jima and like at the spot and kind of say like goodbye to the other James.
Right.
And that helped him a lot, I think, to get over that. And apparently he also met James Huston's sister, who was still alive. I don't know if she is like currently still alive, but like when he was a kid, he met her and like they had like an instant bond. And after she talked to him, she was like, yeah, I think that's my brother. So she like kind of confirmed it. Like she's like, what, 80 or something? Probably.
Well, and the thing is, like, at that age too, like, why would she lie about that? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, she could be lonely. She could have no other relatives that are alive.
yeah, that's fair. But at the same time, like, that seems like a dumb thing to lie about. Like, what are you going to get out of it?
Right. So I guess from whatever he talked about with her, and they're still apparently still close, like as he aged up,
Right.
like he still talks to her and stuff because they both felt like a bond with each other. So there are a couple, well, this one skeptic for sure from this case. His name's Christopher French. He's a professor of psychology at Goldsmiths University of London, and he's familiar with Dr. Tucker's work. And he had a problem with this just because, well, in general, the past lives thing he has a problem with because often research starts after the family has kind of already accepted that they're reincarnated or like already found a name. So then it's kind of makes it a little like distorted, I guess. But he also, oh yeah.
Well, no. I was just going to say the fact that she had already employed a past life therapist,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm not naive to the fact, like, that is pretty compelling to me. But at the same time, if you're talking to somebody that believes wholeheartedly already that that's what it is, like, there's obviously, and when I say manipulation, I don't mean like nefariously, but like that child is being manipulated to believe it, even if it's not true.
Right.
So,
yeah, especially when they're like 3 or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can convince a 3-year-old to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
So,
also, apparently, he said James had been taken to a flight museum when he was 18 months old, and he was obsessed with the World War II planes. So he kind of points to that a little bit, I guess.
I don't know though, man, because I mean, you could talk to kids that are 7, 8 years old, 6 years old, and ask them what it was like when they were 1. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna remember.
No, they're not gonna remember that. Yeah, and I guess James' dad, like he said, he was the original skeptic, so he understands where like skeptics are coming from. But I guess he said if anyone wanted to look at the facts that they had, like, because he wrote down all this stuff, he was like, go for it. Like, you can look at everything and come to your own conclusion.
Well, see, that's even more compelling to me because it's like they don't even give a shit. Like, they're not trying to push anything. They're just like, yeah, this is what we think it is.
Yeah, this was just our situation. Like, this was the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also kind of laughed a little bit at, like, planting memories into James because he's like, you try to tell a 2-year-old what to say, like a script. Like, they're not going to say what you said. Like,
well, I mean, you can definitely get that to happen. It just doesn't happen overnight. You can definitely manipulate and get whatever you want to have happen, but that takes some time to kind of coerce that behavior or that whatever out of somebody.
Right. Yeah, I will say his parents have co-authored a book called Soul Survivor, but that came out in 2009. And it just kind of documented their story, I guess. So,
well, and I'm sure it was, it flew off the shelves, and I'm sure they made a lot of money on it.
Maybe, yeah.
I doubt it, but that's what
Right, yeah, books are usually you don't make any money, even
that's
if,
what I'm saying.
like, unless you're a top, yeah. And since it was like, this started in 2002, I think, 2000, I guess, is when he started saying all these things. So writing a book in 2009, it's like,
right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's that case, most famous case. Now you've heard it.
I've heard it. I will know now.
So the last one is Ryan Hammonds from Oklahoma. Have you heard of him? Probably
I have not.
Okay. He's also kind of a famous case. So he was 4 when he began directing imaginary movies, which I feel like that's normal. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then soon after that, he started waking up in the middle of the night, screaming and clutching his chest. And he would say he dreamed his heart exploded when he was in Hollywood. So that kind of started the past life thoughts.
Okay.
So his mom asked the doctor about these episodes because I guess they were happening so frequently. And the doctor kind of was like, it's just night terrors. He'll grow out of it. Like, whatever.
No worries.
Yeah. But then one night, Ryan ended up telling his mom he thinks he used to be someone else. Like he was saying, I think I used to be someone else, this other person. So he said he remembered a big white house and a swimming pool, and it was in Hollywood. And he said he had 3 sons, but he couldn't remember their names. And then he would start crying, asking, like, why can't I remember their names? Like, he was distressed over that. So it was like causing so much anxiety and stress in him because he would ask his parents that and stuff.
Well, and that's wild that a 4-year-old is having that sort of an anxiety attack about something. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Right. And he would also regularly draw his family, and he would draw 4 people in the picture. So he would draw his mom, his dad, him, and then he would say the old him would always be in the pictures.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, his past life. And I guess his dad was not really supportive at all because he said he
can't imagine why.
Right. But he felt like he couldn't talk about his old self with the dad, I guess. So that kind of caused more issues with him, I guess. But like his mom obviously didn't know what to do about it, but like he was so insistent about it, like she couldn't just ignore it.
Right.
So she started researching about reincarnation, and she would also get books about Hollywood from the library to like go through with him to maybe it'd help him or something. She didn't know what else to do. And yeah, she did talk to her husband about it with the reincarnation research she was doing. And yeah, he was not supportive at all. She said like one day he just threw the book out of her hand, like into the wall, and was like, "We don't have a son who's reincarnated." Like,
Typical dad moment right there.
Right. Yeah. And like he's also in law enforcement and like grew up a Christian, like a devout Christian. So he was like not interested in that at all. Eventually, though, he did tell the mom to document everything because of his law enforcement background. I guess he was like, write everything down that he says because you're not going to remember. Like, write every single thing down.
Right.
So she did start doing that. So this turned into a list with over 200 items on it from what he remembered. Yeah. So one day they were paging through the Hollywood books, and he stopped at a black and white photo taken from a 1930s movie called Night After Night. There were 2 men in the center of the picture who were like kind of confronting each other from the image, and then there were 4 men surrounding them. So Ryan pointed to one in the middle and said, "That's George. We did a picture together." And then he pointed to a guy that was on the right wearing like an overcoat and kind of scowling. And he said, "That's me. I found me."
Man, dude, I'm so happy my kids don't have past lives because I would have shit my pants.
Yeah, he was like 4 still. Like this happened in the course of a year. Like he was still 4 when he said that. And the book didn't have any names for who was in the photo. Like the mom was able to eventually confirm that the George that Ryan had pointed out was named George Raft, and he was like a film star in the 30s and 40s. But she couldn't identify the man that Ryan said was him, like his old past self. So she ended up writing to Dr. Tucker and included the photo and said, like, he thinks he was this guy and can you help us? Like, she wrote a whole thing of like, this has been going on and all this stuff. So eventually the photo ended up in the hands of a film archivist. And after weeks of research, they confirmed that that man was Marty Martin, who was an uncredited extra in that movie from the photo. So then Dr. Tucker came to their house couple weeks after that. He did not tell them that they thought it was Marty Martin. So he just came to their house to kind of interview Ryan and the family. So Ryan at that time was 5. So he laid out 4 black and white photos of like men. And he said, which one do you think is you? And he pointed at Marty Martin. And then he put out 4 black and white photos of women and said, do any of these look familiar to you? And he pointed at one and said she looked familiar. And that was Marty's last wife.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you got a 1 in 4 possibility, but still, that's...
Right. Yeah. So later, Dr. Tucker did take the family to Hollywood to meet Marty's daughter, who was still alive. But right when they like landed in Hollywood and everything, Ryan said he felt like he was home, like finally. He was like, this is where I belong, kind of like at 5. He doesn't really feel like that anymore, but... So Dr. Tucker talked to the daughter before she met with Ryan, because like he had the list of like over 200 items that Ryan said he remembered, and they were able to confirm some of that stuff on the list. Okay. So, and some of it, like the daughter didn't even know was true, and like later found like photos or something that confirmed it was true. Or
that's interesting.
Talked to other family members. Yeah. Because I guess she was like a kid when her dad died, so she didn't know like all of this stuff.
Right.
But like as she talked to other family or like went through photos, she was like, oh, actually, Ryan's correct on this one. So that was like crazy. They did say this list had like a lot of little like personal things that's like almost impossible to verify at this point.
Right.
But they did confirm 55 things. So...
That's still not horrible, but yeah, I mean, I wish it would have been at least half.
Yeah. Well, apparently this is the most verified statements of any case that they've studied for past lives.
Well, I stand corrected.
I guess
then.
Just because he had so many too, like most of them don't have over 200 things.
Sure.
But so I couldn't find the full list of 55 things, but I found like 40 things. So we could go through almost all of them. Okay, so he said he was the man in the photo from Night After Night. So the other items kind of confirm that, I guess, if they are saying he was Marty Martin. He pointed out that George was that guy, and that was correct. He said the movie was about a boxer, and that was correct. But I don't know. You could look up the movie maybe, but maybe not back in... When was this? I didn't say when, I guess. I mean, this was like... Because now he's also an adult, so this was probably like early 2000s. So I don't know how much of this you could have looked up, but he said the movie had a closet full of guns in it, so that was correct. He said...
Well, it was the 30s in America. So,
right, yeah. He said his buddy was in the movie, which his buddy was a cowboy, which I guess they later confirmed this was Wild Bill Elliott. But I feel like part of that's like, they just thought he's Marty, and Marty had a cowboy friend. Like, I don't know if that really confirms it, but he said his cowboy friend made cigarette commercials, which that guy did. They said his cowboy friend had a horse that did tricks, which I guess was true of this guy as well. And he made a bunch of Westerns, which I feel like is obvious.
Well, okay, so now it's like we're getting into this, like, okay, so he did cigarette commercials, he had a horse that did tricks, and he was a cowboy in 1930s America. Yeah, and he was in Hollywood. Right. Of course, that's what he was fucking doing.
He made a bunch of Westerns, yeah. Yeah, he said he himself lived in Hollywood, which Marty Martin did, if he is Marty Martin, I guess. He said he tap danced on a stage, and the stage was in New York City, which Marty Martin was a tap dancer on Broadway. He said he was an agent and ran an agency, and Marty Martin did have a talent agency called Marty Martin Talent Agency, I guess.
Man, that's a catchy name for a talent agency.
Right. And he said the agency changed people's names, which it did. It gave them stage names. I mean, he said all these things when he was 4. So I guess how much of it, because I don't know. He said his old address had Rock in the name, which it did. He lived at Roxbury Drive. So that's Roxbury, but.
Was it spelled ROCK or ROX?
ROX.
Oh, okay.
But he's also 4. So he just says Roxbury. I don't know.
But
it's interesting.
Anyway.
What?
Well, you wouldn't pronounce it like that if you... I don't know. Never mind.
Roxbury.
If I show a 4-year-old the difference between ROCK and ROX, they're going to say they're going to say something completely different for it. No, that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had a 4-year-old, so I don't know what they would say. But if he was just trying to remember from sound, like hearing it.
Yeah.
If you heard Roxbury versus Roxbury.
Roxbury.
I don't know. You know how 4-year-olds talk?
Yeah, okay.
He said he knew a man named Senator 5. He'd say Senator 5. He had a kind of an accent in the video. It was like Senator 5. But Marty knew a Senator Ives of New York.
Got the fuck out of here.
So he said that was correct because they said Ives.
You're starting to lose me, Sarah.
He said he had 3 sons, which that was correct. He said he didn't think the sons were his, but he gave them his name anyway, which that was correct because they were from other wives. He said he had a daughter. That was correct because he met the daughter later. He said he brought coloring books home for the kids, which that was correct. Who, I don't know.
Yeah.
He said he had a large swimming pool. That was correct. He had a younger sister, which Marty's daughter did not know that, and it turned out to be correct that he had a younger sister.
That is interesting.
He said his mom had curly brown hair. That was correct. He said he had trouble with his oldest stepdaughter, and he said she wouldn't listen and didn't respect him, which was correct. Well,
sounds par for the course for me, but...
Yeah, but for a 4-year-old to say...
I guess that's true. Yeah, I keep having to remind myself.
Yeah, he was 4 when he said these things. Yeah. He said he had many wives. He said his wife drove a nice black car. I guess his last wife. He said his favorite restaurant was in Chinatown, which was true. It was called Afong's. Marty Martin was. He spent a lot of time in Paris. He had a green car, which his daughter also did not know that, but later found a photo of the green car. So he did have a green car. And he didn't let anyone else drive the green car, he would say. He had a large collection of sunglasses. I guess that was true.
Well, California.
He said he bought his daughter a dog when she was around 6, and she didn't like the dog, which was true.
Okay. Well, that's oddly specific.
Because the daughter confirmed that, yeah. So he was very rich. I feel like that's not a big stretch to guess. His house was big. He said there was a brick wall at part of the house. Like, part of the house had a brick wall. I guess that was true. He hated cats. And then he also said he died at age 61, which the death certificate for Marty Martin said he was 59 when he died. But Dr. Tucker found 3 census records, 2 marriage listings, and a passenger list that all gave ages for Marty Martin that would have meant he was 61 when he died. So the death certificate was wrong, apparently.
Well.
So that's kind of crazy.
That is interesting.
Yeah, there's some of these that were pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, the ones that are like general, it's like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but the ones like for instance, the green car or the dog that his daughter hated, like that's not stuff that you would know. That's not something general enough to where you could get by with it either. Right.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know if there were things that were wrong because they couldn't verify the other stuff. So I guess.
Well, they're not going to tell you that.
But to say even like, I gave my daughter when she was 6 a dog and she hated it, and that's true.
Yeah, that is a very odd thing, especially for a 4-year-old to say and then it to be actually true.
Right. And that he was 61 when he died, which is apparently true,
and
even though
that part is wild because the death certificate being off, and it's like you could have just put that off to the side until you like figured out that either he lied about his age or
Right.
on some documentation or they fucked up somehow.
Right.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Ryan and Marty's daughter did meet when he was around 7, I think, 6 or 7.
Okay.
And he shook her hand, but he ended up not really talking to her. Like, he just stayed behind his mom the whole time.
Mm.
So I guess later he told her, his mom, that her energy had changed. Like, she didn't feel the same. And the mom was like, yeah, people change as they get older. Like, she's like 60 now or whatever.
Sure.
So then after that encounter, he said he didn't want to go back to Hollywood and he liked his new family and he wanted to like move on from there. So he kind of found closure, I guess. A lot of times that happens, I guess, when the kid meets the past life family. They kind of get some closure or see that they're okay still or whatever and kind of can move on with their current life.
Right. Well, you got to think that if this is really true and if you had a traumatic death and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't even know if it's really like all you, because it
Right.
wouldn't be, but how would you navigate that? Like if part of that old you is still in like a 4-year-old, you know what I mean? Like how
Right.
would you be able to explain it? I don't think you would.
No. Yeah, I don't know if it was him or James. One of them, because Ryan Hammond was also in the Surviving Death episode, the reincarnation episode, as an adult. But one of them said it felt like, I think it was James, it felt like he had 2 different people inside of him. Like he had the old James and the new James. And they were like battling or something kind of sometimes. Like, yeah. But yeah, Ryan Hammond's in the episode. He was an adult. I don't know if he was like older teen or like actual like 20s.
Sure.
I don't know his age, but it showed him meeting Marty's daughter again, like as an adult, and also Marty's niece, I guess, which she is kind of the only person alive that knew Marty like the most because she was an adult when he died. So she really wanted to talk to Ryan and she asked him some questions, but now he's an adult and he couldn't really remember or answer.
He didn't get that Timmy Turner 50-year be a child wish.
Right. Yeah. So she seemed kind of disappointed in that in the episode. Honestly, it was kind of awkward in the episode. If people want to watch it, it's on Netflix, but it seemed a little like, okay, I don't know why. I guess the show probably made him like come back on and do this or something. Because, like, he didn't remember really anything. I mean, he said he loved Paris still, which I guess was similar.
Well, but at the same time, like, if you honestly don't remember it, but then you have another part of the family trying to have, like, a reconnection, like, wow, it's going to be fucking awkward. What the fuck am I supposed to do in this situation? I don't know you.
Yeah, it was pretty awkward, right? Yeah. So it was like, okay. Yeah, she said she wished she had seen him as a kid because he would have remembered more and stuff, but I don't know. Just move on, lady. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some skeptics, obviously, of like past lives in general. Like we said, kind of the confirmation bias from parents, or like you can push them into like just saying certain things and stuff. Also, like some people say like kids, if they obviously lie, like if they say, oh, I was a purple alien, like parents aren't going to write that down because they know that's not serious.
Okay.
But the kids could be serious about all of it, but you're only writing down the things that you're like, obviously that's not true.
Right.
So you already are kind of biasing it as the parent, like subconsciously, but... And then people say it's the kid's imagination. I don't know about some of these, like that list that we went through.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some that are very general and vague, like we already talked about, that you could definitely attribute that to just a kid making stuff up.
Right.
100%. But it's not those that, like, I mean, I pretty much dismissed those when you were reading them. But it's like the stuff, like you were saying with Marty's green car. Like, how the fuck, like, either you got extremely lucky.
Yeah, green's his favorite color, so he just said green, and it was true.
Yeah, but then, like, adding a detail that nobody was allowed to drive it, and everybody confirming that. Or, like, why would a 4-year-old say anything about, like, oh, yeah, got a dog for my daughter, and she hated it,
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty weird. Like, well, some people too, like the skeptics say, like, the kid starts with the imagination and then the parents get into the idea of reincarnation. And then the kid just wants to say more and more about it because it, like, gets the parents excited. So they're just like, oh, let me say more stuff. And they think it's like a game, especially
Right.
like as a small child.
For sure.
But yeah, like you already said, like some of that stuff, I'm sure some of these cases could be attributed to that. But some, it's like, yeah, it's a little too specific.
Well, yeah. And like, I don't think that every single one of those 2,500 cases or the 75% of those 2,500 cases are probably true. It's always the handful of outliers that you cannot explain that are the most interesting.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I saved Ryan for last, because
Yeah.
it seemed like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other people, though, I want to get your opinion on this theory. They say the kid doesn't have a past life, but they are channeling the spirit of that deceased person. And that's why they know all this stuff.
Well,
So it wasn't actually them.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I have seen enough where like kids or people that are dying or close to dying, like they're seeing shit that we don't see. So
Right.
there's definitely something to that. I don't know what that is, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't be too far-fetched to believe something like that. Because I mean, if you think about it, like, I mean, I don't want to get all woo woo on anybody, but like, if you think about the concept of like a soul, right? If it's just energy, but it's like you manifested as energy. We know scientifically that energy can't be, created or destroyed. So it
Right.
has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, whether that transfers into back into the earth and then back out into the atmosphere and then into outer space. Okay, cool. It still went somewhere. Or there's a plane of existence that we aren't able to see.
Right.
So I don't
And then
know.
they could reincarnate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the channeling the spirits too, like maybe some of it makes sense for people, but like these people don't live in the same area at all of like the ones they are or like where the person died and stuff. So it's like, how are you channeling that one?
You gotta think though, if we live, if we have if there is another plane of existence, our laws of physics, our sense of time, our sense of space doesn't apply there.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Like it would be completely irrelevant where they died
or where they lived and
or
stuff.
where they lived or where, or even the time frame in which they lived. Because if they're able to traverse through what we understand as a, steady flow of time,
right?
Then, I mean, technically, I guess they could do whatever they wanted in that sort of environment.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe their energy's just in Oklahoma
Yeah.
Went from Hollywood to Oklahoma for
Yeah,
money.
it's a good change of pace. We went from big city living to small town living.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe he wanted a new soul contract for the next life.
Or I mean, it could be something as crazy. I mean, you hear people talk about like the near death experiences and how like you're going through like a tunnel and seeing a bright light. I mean, maybe it's just the next person being born. You're just next in the chute. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
maybe
you don't get a choice in it. You just if you happen to, die in correlation with this person being born, that's where it goes.
Yeah. They're like, quick, need a new body, shove it in there.
I mean, it could be simultaneously.
Yeah.
It literally could be something as simultaneous as, either when someone's conceived or when they're born or whatever. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. But those were the 3 cases I had. So
I mean, it's interesting to say the least. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to claim to know. I've had some weird shit happen as a kid of stuff I can't explain. I've never had like past life or anything like stuff, but
yeah, I tried to do a past life regression. There's like a hour-long YouTube video where you're supposed to kind of like meditate to it and get visions or something. I saw nothing.
No.
Like maybe I'm not a past life.
Well,
I mean, the time did go faster. I feel like anytime I meditate, time seems to end up going much faster than the hour, like than it felt, I guess, or whatever, than it should have been. But I didn't see anything.
Well, maybe
My
you
friend saw something
Yeah?
for her. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's link that YouTube down in the description. So listeners, if you want to figure out if you had a past life regression, worst case that's going to happen is you're going to waste an hour of your time.
Yeah. And you get like a good little like energy boost, like meditation.
100%.
You know?
It's a win-win. It really is a win-win. You're either going to find out some wild shit or you're going to feel absolutely refreshed.
And then let us know if you saw anything.
Yes.
And we'll talk about it.
We will dedicate a whole fucking episode to you. We'll even have you on the fucking episode. There you go.
Yeah.
The incentive to be heard on this fantastic podcast. But speaking of this fantastic podcast, if you guys want to support the show, patreon.com/the Paranoid Perspective Podcast. We have some really awesome perks over there. Follow us on any of the social media platforms just by searching The Paranoid Perspective. Easiest and free way, as always. Share this podcast with a friend, comment, like, whatever you do, wherever you see this, interact with that post in some way, shape, or form. It goes so much further than you know. And as always,
remember, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not watching. See you next time on The Paranoid Perspective.